Y'all, we have to start being a lot more cognizant of the advice that we give to other people, specifically unsolicited advice. So, for my peers, associates, whatever that confide in me, I always ask the question, do you want to just vent or do you want my advice? Because I admit I can go in, but here's the thing, advice on people's journeys or what they have going on, specifically something that you've accomplished before, is just not one size fits all. I think, really specifically speaking on a more spiritual lens, like, you may have front loaded your karma, whereas they have back loaded their karma. For example, for me, I know I front loaded my karma. The worst of my life happened early on in my life, right? So I've front loaded all the karmic debt and all of the, like, that happened early on. And for somebody else, it might be still coming toward them. They might have seemingly had like, a good life. I mean, somebody could become like a millionaire just by hitting the lottery, right? So you never know how people's lives are meant to play out. Now, it's another thing if they are seeking the advice, right? Then it's another story because you're giving them a really literal and a really, I should say, practical way. Like, hey, when I did this, this is what I did. This is what I looked out for, right? Because at the end of the day, people are going to take parts and pieces of the advice that you give anyway. They're not gonna do every single thing that you've done. And honestly, I don't think that they should, right? Like, you should take bits and pieces and apply it to your journey, because you don't know what that person's spiritual life is. You don't know if God has told them to go. You don't know if God has told them to wait. You don't know if God has told them to do it in this way and do it in this direction. And so we have this practical lens on how we should approach things and destinations and relationships and new ventures and all of that. But there is a spiritual part that we tend to forget. We have to remember that everybody has their own unique spiritual journey. And I know for me, specifically in this season, I'm leaning so heavy on where spirit guides me and where my ancestors have led me to go. So really be careful with the advice that you offer, specifically unsolicited advice. And I think too, in what you receive as well, right? Like, take it with a grain of salt, because you never know what other experiences have impacted a person when they're like, just consider everything. And it's not to say that advice doesn't work or that network isn't important. That's not what I'm saying. Just really go to spirit, pray about it, understand what parts you should take, what parts you should leave, and really follow your own unique path.